before they all just fade. So how can I leave it all behind when I refuse to watch it fall to dust? I will find a this porcelain mirage may start to break. Each piece a reminder, every single little mistake. So how can I leave it all behind when I refuse to watch it fall to dust? Tell me why it won't ever be the same. I'll burn it all, no matter who's to blame. I'll find a way. I'll find a way. And every time I close my eyes, a little less of you remains. I know you're slipping further from me now. Am I too far away?
what team you're from. You don't have to say your name, just, team. You have to say ACL either, because we're all here for ACL. It's not like the cap meeting. But basically what I'm going to do here is go over the rulebook and then the draw. So make this as painless as possible. We're going to have the important parts of the rulebook here. For everyone here who isn't used to Aegis, I'll try to make this as easy to understand. For people who are used to Aegis, if you scroll down to the very bottom, there's a schedule called changelog. This will basically detail all the changes that we made this split. So if you're familiar with Aegis, then you're good to go. And IX, please put that in the stage tab channel. I'll link it here so you can see it. Just type that right there. All right, without further ado, let us begin here regarding the Aegis. So in terms of things that are actually important, the first thing I'm going to describe here is about the format, making sure you guys are aware of this. As you guys are aware, this is a Friday league. It starts next Friday at 8 p.m. EST. Please be aware here. I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to say this multiple times again. If you make playoffs, it is double elimination playoffs. And the reason that is relevant is that we will be doing Mondays for lower brackets. So, if you think you're not a terrible team, mentally prepare that you may have to play on Mondays in the next coming months. Obviously, we'll make announcements, and we can always work with teams to do slight reschedules. But again, it's double elimination. The chance of rescheduling isn't great due to the fact that your match basically is very relevant for the other matches, and the tournament has to go quick. If we can't do double elim on Monday and Friday, then we can't actually finish it in a reasonable time. So be aware that is the case. In addition, the actual format. 4 groups of 7 of 28 teams. I'm sure you guys can all count. We saw for 28 teams on the sheet. What that basically means is, I'm sure for those who are wise, you notice that, hey, there's an odd number of teams. All of you will be playing one cross-group game. By definition, you'll be playing against a team of the same pool. All that means is that when we do a draw, you guys, when we put in 5 pools, you're guaranteed to play someone of the same pool. And a cross-group game does not affect the group state standings. It will basically be used as a tiebreaker match. So essentially what that means is, for anyone who's figured it out, for most of you, the cross-group game won't be really relevant unless you happen to be in the playoffs and happen to be the same seed as someone else, then it'll be relevant. So that cross-group game is really a tiebreaker game. It's also potentially a chance to see how you fare against other people that you were expected to be in the same level as, but it doesn't actually count for your group stage record. So, I say that because obviously if you're a Pool 1 seed, you will by definition have a harder schedule than other teams because you'll be playing against another Pool 1 seed. So just be aware of that when the schedule comes out. Further ado then, last couple things here, a slight change here so you guys are aware. The forfeit deposit to change and actually was brought back to split. For people who were here last split, you didn't see it. We're bringing back FF deposits. What that basically means is you all put in free 50 for your org owners. You get $50 back if you don't FF. And there we have the schedule on the FF deposit here, basically of what it actually means below the entry fee, above the price pool. You can kind of see the penalties, just so you guys are aware. Finally, in the prize pool section here, another change, be relevant. We did change Aegis to a 50, 20, 10, 10, 5, 5 split. That means a top 6 gets paid out. It's not perfectly those numbers, but essentially what that means is if you finish 5th and 6th, you get your entry fee back. If you finish, 3rd and 4th, you get about double the entry fee, about 700, I think. And obviously most of the prize pool goes to 1st and 2nd. Again, be aware we had a lot of feedback last split of teams who thought were pretty good. We did a really good job, but obviously finished 4th for 5th and 6th and basically got paid out nothing. And obviously the money's not huge for those teams, but when you're an org owner, I understand money's tight for you guys. It does feel pretty bad if you what's the word for it? Finish 5th and 6th and get no money. All right, now the actual rules that will be relevant here. So first thing will be relevant here is in section. Now actually list the section out for you guys. It will be section 1 moment. 4.1 here in section 4 of emergent substitutes. Relevant pieces for you guys so you guys are aware. Previously in Aegis, we used to have this thing called E-sub limits. We still do, but for ACL it's been removed. That means you can have as many E-subs as you want and you have to split. And we also changed the penalties for E-subs, if you've noticed. They're now just 1 ban and 3 bans, period, throughout the entire split. So what that effectively means here is that you use an E-sub, use 1 ban, use 2 subs, use 3 bans. And that is now the rule for in general. So we did this because we noticed, obviously, ACL, a lot of guys know the players. A lot of players are well known. It's a pretty small community in terms of uncap elo. And we don't really want someone to enter a very important series not having their bans when it matters. So E-sub changes to make it more lenient on teams. So that's the first big rulebook. That, in addition, another rulebook, and it's not going to actually be in the rulebook anymore because it's been removed, is reserves. I'm sure for people who played in ACL before and in Aegis before, you know the concept of reserves. Those are players are basically substitutes that you set aside that you don't plan on using. That's been removed. It's normal now. You get 5 starters, 5 subs, and it's also ACL. What that means is LCS order is not enforced. We do that for cap leagues because the level of player is lower. But realistically speaking, as long as 5 people show up on your roster sheet, They can light up in any order they want in the lobby, play whatever role they want. There's no requirements. That's because, again, the nature of the ELO. So be aware of that. These are 2 changes. And again, that doesn't exist in the rulebook because it's been removed. So nothing relevant there. In addition, I'll put this right here. Let me get the exact rule out for you guys so you can see it here. Rule 1.5, a new rule added called conflicts in NACL and LCS. This is a rule that we've kind of enforced by via admin discretion. We finally finalized this. What this basically means, if an NACL or LCS team, and this happened last split actually, I think the 2 players, if I recall, acquires a player's contract or has a contract requirement making a player unable to play an ACL at any point, said player's ACL team will be given a free replacement player. The only requirement being you have to tell us 24 hours before your match. So this overrides all other rules. So you find out the day before finals that your player's been acquired and they can't play any more finals, whatever reason is. I've heard multiple reasons, boot camps, player contract, etc. Yes, even though it's playoffs, you can still add the player. Yes, even though you have a roster, you can still add the player. This is basically a get a jail free time card. It's happened last split to 2 teams. Yeah, it's obviously very frustrating if you find out your player's been NACL sniped and you're still waiting. But we always ruled giving the teams every player, so now we basically made it a solidified rule. So conflicts in NACL or LCS, if that happens, is present to us, talk to the admins. But you basically have a replacement player for free if that ever happens to you. And finally, the big rule change here, and this is the final rule that's actually changed, and then we'll go over a general procedure, is Section 5.5 Fearless Draft. I'm going to very decently explain how this works. Fearless can work different ways. Let's be aware here. Oh, thank you, applause. I'll fix that. What do you call it? Fearless Draft. If you guys are not aware of Fearless Draft works, it's a style of picking the tournaments. That exact rule, by the way, is in pure copy from NACL. So it's the exact same way it works in ACL, if you guys are aware of that. That way essentially it works is that when you pick a champion, you can't pick that champion again for the rest of the series. So obviously, for example here, if you select Aatrox, Sejuani, Orianna, Zai, or Khan in game 1, you can't pick those champions for the rest of the series. Your opponents can, but you can't. This obviously puts more responsibility on you guys to understand what your opponent has picked. This is what NACL is using for NACL OQs and NACL in tournament. Obviously, for best of ones, it's not really applicable because you can't really not play a champion if you only play 1 game. But for best of 3s and best of 5, it's applicable, and it'll be the same for ACL. And if something happens and you accidentally pick, it links up to Article 5.92, the accidental pick ban. I won't go through it. We can read exactly what that means. Basically, TLDR, if someone accidentally picks something that, let's say they previously picked, so let's say you picked, I don't know, Orianna game 1, and then you forgot you picked Orianna in game 1 and you picked the game 3, it's on your opponents to kind of, keep you in check. And if they notify before the match begins, either you gotta follow through with it, or basically what's gonna happen is we're gonna do a remake, essentially. They'll do ban loss. So it's on your opponents to kind of keep track of what's going on. If your opponents don't keep track of it, if let's say, I don't know, you're 20 minutes in the game and you just realize that they picked Orianna and they played him game 1, well, tough luck. It is what it is. It's on you guys. Now, I would highly suggest if you guys have coaches or team managers or really any player that's somewhat responsible, just note down what your opponent has picked. Should be pretty easy for best of 3s. It's really best of 5s. That would be kind of concerned. Just note down what they've picked. Because if they pick Orianna game 1, and let's say they pick a game 3, and you didn't notice until the game began, well then, that's the pick. So, Fearless Draft only really works here if other people can keep other people in check. All right, other than that, normal things you have to understand for ACL here. 10-man rosters, 5 subs, 5 starters. Nothing crazy here. Generally speaking, I will explain the format here. Groups of 7, top 4 make playoffs. You can basically read more about how regular season is defined and playoffs is defined in section 3.2. You can read how double eliminations is defined as well. These aren't super important things. No holidays are coming up, so that's not really relevant here. The FRA system, something I will discuss here, if you guys are aware. And this is mainly for team leads here to understand the FRAs. And I'll kind of refer to what rule that will basically be. But in rule 3.7, specifically in 3.74 here, flexible roster additions, the TLDR of this is that whatever amount of teams and players you sign up with kind of gives you a number. And that number is how many roster additions you're allowed in a week. So easy way to understand this, if the FRA thingy on the roster sheet says greater than 0, you can add 2. If it says equal to 0, you can only add 1. It's really only relevant for people who are team leads or adding players. Just be aware of the FRA thing is a thing. Besides that, I don't think there's anything else that's extremely relevant here. It's not just normal LOL procedure here. Let me just double check to make sure I'm not trolling. All right, I'll summarize here in terms of how things are going. 1, prize pool split's been changed, but more equitably. 5th and 6th now have more share, as well as 4th. Most of that's been taken away from 1st. 2. I guess this is the change we didn't talk about. Name change bans are only 1 ban per game instead of 2 bans. No more E-sub limit. No more reserves. People know what that is. If you don't know what that is, ignore it. The FF deposit has been added. Again, if you would like to know exactly how that works, again, this is more for org owners. Feel free basically to go up in the penalty side and the league information exactly what it would be. You can read the FF deposit details if you want to. Rule 1.5 conflict at NACL and LCS. You can read about it. What else here that's really relevant here? E-sub penalties. You can read about in the emergency substitutes here at 4.1. It's basically just decreases the penalties used. And finally, fearless draft. You can read about it here in section. Why the hell is it not a rulebook? 1 second. Moment here. It will be section 5.5 of Fearless Draft. I don't know why it's actually not shown as a subtitle, but yeah, that's essentially what happened. Those are basically the relevant rules. Let me go through here. Any questions I have to answer before we get to the draw? Norm complaining about start time. Norm worry about your NICL team. Fuck is the rulebook. Hot pockets. Thank you, applause. I'll make sure to fix that. Yes, orgs are broke. All right, thank you, Norm. Really, always there to count you. All right, anyway, moving forward, that's really it for rulebook. And it's a pretty standard league. We always try to be accommodating to teams. The big changes here, and again, I'm going to repeat the format so you understand. Groups of 7, 4 groups, 1 crops group game. Doesn't apply for group stages. And finally, I'm going to keep saying this multiple times. It is fearless draft. You pick a champion, you can't pick them again. You can. Your opponent can. You can't. And if your opponent does not catch someone picking a champion, well then tough luck. So you then please be aware. I will let all the captains know because I know at least 2 of you minimum are going to forget I said this and are going to be really confused when your opponent tells you you can't pick Sejuani for game 2 after you pick game 1. So just please be aware of that. So you're aware. All right. Yes, Gordo. Where is Norm yapping? Yeah, he be yapping, man. I'm never fucking fluent in Japanese.
I didn't even realize we were on Twitch, so.
Yeah, that's the beauty. 17 minutes, not bad. I was aiming for 15. Actually, I guess it's 12 minutes, to be honest, because I forgot I was speaking for 10 minutes. So, honestly, good timing. All right, PVS, get in here. Let's get the draw. So, other people are here. No one cares about the rule. Let's be honest. Half the people are going to remember. Invite to speak. Yeah, go for it. Come here, PVS. Can you hear me, PVS? Oh, my
God, I'm here.
Oh, my God, we are here. Now. The draw show. Now, we used, unlike last split, we did pure LP peaks. We had some, not pure LP peaks, or mainly LP peaks with a bit of adjustments. This split, we did LP peaks with a committee. Now, I'm not going to say who's in the committee. They know in the committee. If they want to speak out, they can. I guess I'll at 2 of them. PVS and Gordo are both in the committee, so you can blame them. But if everyone else wants to say the committee.
My anonymity is ruined.
Yeah, screw you. PVS and Gordo were in the committee. There were also over 10 people in the committee as well. They ranked the teams. At the same time, we had also LP peaks that were relevant. We combined it. And we ranked the teams from 1 to 28 and put you guys into 5 pools. So that's how it works. Unlike last split, it's not just LP peak. There's more discretion. We hope it's a better representation, I'm sure. And I will generally say, especially as you go down to the bottom, there'll be more disagreements. If, damn, he ain't broke. Man, it's $5, okay? I said he's broke. I didn't say he's like begging. But anyway, hopefully it's not too awful. And as I always say, if you don't like the draw, well, go win your games. You have to beat everyone to be final champion anyway. All right, moving forward here. Gordo, please introduce yourself here. Tell us who you are and get things started. And then PVS, of course. But first, Gordo.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Gordo. I am one of the primary casting duo that'll be on ACL throughout this season. Yeah, we do stream games every week, and we will stream games live during playoffs as well. I know that's a new concept to NA Tier 3. Compared to some of the other competitions going on, but those will be going on. Yeah, really looking forward to the split. Feel free to hit up me or TDS, who will be the primary color anytime if you ever want to run anything by us or have us know anything about your team. We're here to support you guys and tell your stories. So looking forward to it.
TDS and Gordo, my 2 goats. PVS, permanently free agent, permanently 2 free. Introduce yourself to the ACL community.
I mean, you're not wrong. Hi, I'm PBS, longtime producer for Aegis. Also, homeless OQ player, but it's fine. It'll get better eventually.
It's fine, he says.
I mean, I'm not an OQs either.
Yeah, that is true.
He's just
I've
like
been
me
doing
for
a lot
real.
of. I think I've been doing Aegis for what, like 5, 6 splits now, something like that. Before Flay was here, but it's fine. Yeah, should be fun. Looking forward to the group of death that we're inevitably gonna get.
Thank you, PVS. Always here for your wonderful support to make Aegis a better place. All right. Shut up, Beck. All right, moving forward. Let us get the draw here. We're going to start with the Pool 1 teams, then Pool 2, then Pool 3, then Pool 4, then Pool 5. Now, I want to introduce the Pool 1 teams. Unlike the other draws, you guys are probably more familiar with the teams than, the other Cap League. So first, let me go through the 4 Pool 1 teams. And obviously, for those who can't do math, 1 Pool 1 team per group, obviously. BlackRock Esports, Team Fish Taco, Maryville's B team, and Morningstar White are our Pool 1 teams set by the committee and the LP Peaks. These are, according to our wonderful geniuses at the committee, the top 4 teams in ACL. Let's see how right they are. Mr. Benjamins, whenever you're ready, spin the first wheel to see the first team in Aegis. And this will be for Demacia, correct?
Sounds right.
Team Fish Taco. Welcome to Demacia there. First team drawn here. We're going to start with Gordo here. Gordo TFT here coming in Aegis. Actually second time, if I recall correctly, off the top of my head, they finished fourth last time, if I recall. So top 4 team. Not the same players, of course, but the organization, after being in ACL, being relegated, trying to work themselves back into the ecosystem. They've arrived back in ACL. Gordo, your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to give them a break for last season as well. They had Meech poached by a certain LCS org, so that's not really on them either. So yeah, really excited to have this org back. They've always been producing some real great competitive teams. Love the Sudsy Levitate Snow trio coming on in. They did not make top 8 in OQs, but we're willing to call that a fluke and still put them in the S tier. And yeah, hearing some potential roster shuffles may be a miss, but they signed up with Hoarder and Limo, and we're big fans of those guys as well over here. Hoarder, a former all-star here in ACL, so really looking forward to this squad.
EVS, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, it should be interesting to see. I got the honor to play against them and got absolutely smashed. So I think I think Pool 1's an okay spot for them.
Yeah, I mean, TFT, pretty strong roster. Again, there could be some roster changes here. It could always happen, of course. But generally, TFT as an organization, you would expect them to be one of the contenders, really, no matter who they put in. They got name brand. They've been around the amateur scene for a really long time now. I feel like for like 5-6 years. I remember them back in the UPL days, and before it was Unified, sorry, in the what do you offer? Upsurge days, excuse me.
Upsurge, yeah.
Yes, Upsurge days. So it's been a while. They've been around here for a while. All right, Mr. Benjamins, let's get our second team here. No TFT. 3 teams left here. Who will be joining TFT here? It's going to be Morningstar White. They're going to come in here. They're going to join in what will be the Noxus group. And of course, PVS, I'll let you take this away. What are your thoughts on Morningstar White being a Pool 1 team and heading to Noxus Division?
From what I've seen from OQs, this team is looking absolutely cracked, mechanical-wise. It seems like they're semi-inexperienced, other than Pika Pika, but I mean, they're smashing OQs, so I think it makes sense.
I believe they're currently in semifinals right now, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. And Gordo, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, on a run towards finals here. Definitely the big dark horse candidate from OQs this year, but all these guys are super high ranked. All these guys are super good. Paying close attention to Yushin up in the top lane, who is, at least yesterday, was rank 1 MA. I don't know if he is right now, but yeah, really impressive stuff coming out of this squad, especially for a group who have not really made deep runs before and are all coming in together. So really excited to see them in ACL as well.
Yeah, if I recall, this is a 5 Chinese team as well, so maybe LHQ vibes here in ACL. We'll see.
A little LMQ, yeah.
LMQ, yeah, actually not LHQ, LMQ, excuse me. We'll see how they do. They're going to join Noxus here. 2 more teams left here. Mr. Benjamins, if you get it started here. We got Maryville, household names, and BlackRock Esports. And it looks like we're going to start with Maryville, or Maryville will be the Piltover division. If I could copy and paste, that'd be phenomenal. Give me 1 second here. We're going to start with Gordo here. What are your thoughts on this Maryville team? I mean, this is Maryville. Their main roster is literally in an ACL. Household name in the collegiate scene. When you think of CeeLo, you think of Maryville. They're here for ACL. They weren't here last, but they're here now. What are your thoughts on this Maryville team coming into the Piltover division?
Yeah, MU's always been super deep as well. If you're only paying attention to them in NACL, you'll see that they've got quite a few strong players down here as well. Odd Orange and Get Pack coming off of an NACL split, just last split. Now they've got UG and Spyrax. They're running in the main squad, so that means we get Odd Orange and Get Back down here. Kachu as well, playing a little bit of a role swap. He's going to AD for this split to be able to split some time with Get Back there. They got Evan RL on the bench as well if they do end up wanting to run an 80 carry main. And then PCL and Shady, both players who have been around for a really long time, have found a lot of success with Maryville at various points throughout their tenure there. So this is definitely a super high up squad and definitely deserving of this pool 1 seed.
PVS, any thoughts from you?
Not a ton. I mean, PCL was 5th to 6th in his last ACL appearance, so I'd say most likely they end up at least like 6th, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, this team is stacked on paper. I mean, it's a Maryville roster. Maryville knows how to build a roster. You've had massive success in CLO, now in NACL. You kind of expect the same in ACL here. Kind of a natural contender here coming into the ACL 1 through 2020 split. Now, this obviously means, of course, not the burst into a bubble here, but BlackRock Esports will be put in the zone. Of course, we'll do it just in case. You never know. Things can happen. But that means BlackRock Esports here will be joining us in the zone. And, PVS here, you have this roster of BlackRock Esports rounding up our Pool 1 teams. What are your thoughts on them coming into ACL?
I mean, from their OQ performance, look pretty solid. Lots of very known players with lots of experience. And B, pretty good ADC player, very aggressive, which is really nice to see, especially in I'd say ACL is much more bloody than OQs or NACL would be, which is, I think it's a really good thing for this team.
Garter, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, no, just happy to see. I mean, Anori B in particular is, I think, a real big breakout player in the offseason. Had some really great runs here in ACL as well as over in Risen Champs, where he made a pretty deep run there with Gentle Hearts. So really excited to see him with a little bit more of a veteran squad around him. They were finding pretty good success in the OQs as well. They were the 5-0 team, like PVS called out. So going to be an exciting one. It's to round out the Zon group, or to kick off the Zon group, round out our Pool 1 seeds, and see who's going to end up making the deep run out of these 4. I think these 4 are coming in as clear favorites. I think they get a little leg up over everybody else. And yeah, definitely no debate from me on these 4 being our top teams for now.
100% here. And as the anticipation builds here, we're going to do a quick 2-minute intermission here before we get our Pool 2 seeds. Stay right in here. Aegis control. So we'll continue about 2 minutes here. But again, our first 4 teams here in Pool 1 have been arrived. The Pool 2 seeds will be announced very shortly. draw, so hope we didn't take too long here for everyone.
Holy.
Boys, are you ready for Pool 2 teams?
Always.
Awesome. All right. Well, Mr. Benjamins, feel free to put them on the screen. As he gets them on here, it's going to be Apora, Corrin's Kittens, MA Rookies, and UCI Varsity. No, Sam, all the groups are not in the ACL. Oh, they are. Okay. They are in the ACL group sheets. They're going to add them on the standings as they go for them. Before we get started first draw here, any like surprises or any teams you really expect to be up here, Gordo or PDVS?
No, I think you did it. But my ratings were pretty on point, I would say. I think pretty much everybody for at least the first few groups were pretty much exactly as I wrote them. And once we get to groups 4 and 5, we'll start differing for where I put stuff.
Yeah, I think everyone's pretty content with the placements.
S, the A, the B, even the C, I think are all pretty well set.
Yeah, I was about to wait for Sems' comment of where's Clown. There it is. Now who's on the committee? Sems, next time, pay a little more, okay? PVS, no fun to me. So go on. Oh, sorry, you can go on, Gordo. I apologize.
Oh, I didn't have anything really to add. The Clown's coming up. Don't worry.
Soon.
Clown will be in there.
Sense. All right, feel free to spend here, Benjamins. Yes, Norm, you will get the TFT group. For example, right about now. Okay, that would have been really cool actually if it worked. All right, Corrin's Kittens here. Join the Demacia group here. Gordo, this Corrin's Kittens team. I believe this is a kind of a Lotus sponsor team here, I guess if you want to call it. They'll be joining us in the Demacia group. Any thoughts on this team coming into ACL?
It's an exciting squad, right? It's coming in with a lot of different folks from a lot of different squads. Portion Frost in the top side. Definitely going to be a really exciting one as well. Enthralled and Cerulean have played together, I believe, for quite a while between the two of them. And then Xiao Danny, been around ACL for a really long time. It'll be a really fun one to have back. He's always with different squads. I think this one might be his strongest one yet. So it'll be cool to check these guys out.
Yeah, if I remember last split, he was on that Pora team, remember? That was on the group of death that finished like 4 and 3, but finished 5th and they missed playoffs.
Yeah.
Probably the best team by far to miss playoffs. Sems, you're not winning ACL. That would be really crazy. What do you call it when we got Zal Danny here? It seems he has a stronger squad. You actually make playoffs here for more favorable draw. But yeah, that Pora team, really strong. Just got the group of death last time and obviously missed out. PVS, any thoughts from you?
Very experienced team. Looking at least 5 splits of experience for every player. I mean, I think it's pretty expected for this team to be cool too.
All right, next draw here, Benjamins. Wow, honestly, a Mirage here would be pretty spicy. But instead, we're going to get a UCI Varsity. Funny, UCI Varsity actually our first ever champions in ACL back in winter 2024. They won it, so interested to see him back here. PBS, any thoughts on his UCI Varsity team coming up?
As you said, previous champions. I think it's very possible they could do it again with the nice core of Mike Young and Cinna. Very talented and experienced players.
Yeah, sure.
Only person on this roster that wasn't on the winning team was Light Pulse, and I think that's a pretty good support player.
On the winning team.
I think it's the exact same roster, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Light Pulse was on the. I think. Were they running Elated at the time?
No, I think they were
not 100% sure.
Okay,
I think
maybe I have that backwards.
Yes, I think it was like one person that was different, but this is almost identical to a winning roster back 1 year ago, making their return. Now, obviously, the competition's to be a lot harder, stronger than it was a year ago, but still interesting to see how this team kind of will perform here coming back in. Gordo, any thoughts from you on this UCI or Irvine team?
Well, first of all, I did just go and check. They did have Elated when they won. So this is the exact not reigning champ, but they haven't been in ACL since they won. So they won a split. They dipped out for a year. They're back, try to defend that title now. So you can see they could go back to back in ACL winter. They have that chance inside of them. So this is already a real exciting group with them and Morningstar White. And yeah, definitely some big names on UCI. Everyone's going to recognize Mike Young and Gorica.
Of course.
But yeah, I've been really impressed with what this whole squad's been able to do every time I've gotten to see them together.
And yeah, obviously it's not the same level of competition it was a year ago, but I mean, you've won it once. They've been here before. Mike Young's had a lot of experience out in ACL. You would expect them to be another strong contender. Moving on here to Piltover. Apora or MA Rookies, I feel like this Maryville team, you don't want to be drawn in against them. So I feel like if you're either one of these teams, you want that first seed here to give yourself a better side. It looks like it's going to be Mirage's Rookies here. MA Rookies, the Norm sponsored team here, coming into to round out Piltover. and obviously our second to last Pool 2 team. Gordo, what are your thoughts on this Mirage team here?
Excited to see Magudis get to play as well as Zalt. I know these guys have been kind of hanging around the Mirage Alliance sphere for a little while. Will be fun to see them get to play. Trevor coming back off of some time in NACL pretty recently. He's playing an ACL here as well. Diesel had some really great runs lately. So it's a fun team from top to bottom. I'm excited to see how they're going to be able to do.
Gordo? Gordo, PVS, any thoughts from you?
Not a ton. I think this team, I think their names speak for themselves. Trevor, very experienced, 2 NACL splits. I mean, pretty good.
For sure. Obviously, to the delight of everyone here, we have to do the spin. You never know. Yes, Anaton, I know. We're going to do a spin. You never know, though, how the spin's going to go. A poor event, by definition, must be in the last group here. Zon, they're going to join BlackRock Esports here. And again, it's a different Apora team, of course. We saw that team last split. Seen this team in OQs. PVS, thoughts on the support team, coming back to ACL, coming back kind of into the uncapped sphere.
I know I'm not supposed to leak anything, but I had the Saporia team rated very highly. I think their top side's extremely strong. Legacy ADC, new to ACL, I believe. Yeah, and Detro, lots of experience. Good roster overall, I'd say.
Gordo, thoughts on this team?
Yeah, only Lawrence from the top 8 OQ team of Poria, but still plenty of exciting folks on here. Yeah, Detro definitely had some deep runs himself. Shorter Ace, the LCS veteran himself, right? He's been around the block for quite a while, been playing in ACL for the last couple of splits as well. I hear good things about Lycamos. I'm excited to see him on like a stacked roster like this, so definitely going to be fun.
And yeah, also adding on Dieter here, pretty experienced player as well. This team has a lot of experience. You see it here. Maybe besides Legacy ADC, multiple OQ appearances for a lot of these players, multiple ACLs, CLOs. Really, Legacy the only one who's coming in as, someone who's more of a kind of newer player in a competitive scene. He's been around for a decent amount of time. That means we're going to be in the pool 3 teams right now. And it's these groups getting interesting. I think the pool 3 teams will be a big indication of how strong these groups actually are.
Oh, yeah.
And let's say them right now. Clown Gaming, Abandoned Kittens, CCG, and 5 Seasons V4. There's not going to be no player forever draw. Don't worry about that. There's going to be 4 pool 3 teams here. Ooh, should be spicy. Let's get started them. Benjamins, get a spin here to round up the Machina.
Oh.
It's going to be, I think that's Abandoned Kittens by the edge. Yes. Abandoned Kittens here is in the Zon group. Ooh. That's PVS here. Sorry. Gordo, this Abandoned Kittens team's coming in to Zon. What are your thoughts on this roster?
I'm excited. I really liked how this team was able to do in OQs. Like these, by the way, it says Steel City Warrior and Jungle. This is Low Jazz / Ben Guy. This dude, you got to pick a name and settle on it, man. It's way too difficult trying to figure out who you are every single season. But they got Samakin in the roster here as well, who was with Aporia, not with them during OQs. So that's going to be a fun addition to this team. Hope and Phantom Star have been really, really good. Or Devin, as Hope is going by now. Solidified's back. These guys, I've loved seeing these guys compete together whenever they've gotten to. So I think this is one of the more kind of dark horse tier 3 teams. I think they'll be a lot of fun, and I think they make this group super open and dangerous. The group A, Demacia, looking really open right now.
Also, her logo is very cute. PVS, thoughts from you?
Yeah, Gordo said it pretty well. I am interested to see how this team does in Fearless. Samakin, obviously known as like the Zoe player. So we'll see if that ever goes through. I'd assume not. But
I think he hates when you say that, by the way. I think he's over that. He's
not the Zoe guy?
He got
that's part of his career.
He just got added.
No more Zoe. Unlucky.
I don't know. I watched him in the whole off season and in OQs. He's not even playing the Zoe when it's up now. I think he's evolved past this.
Fair enough.
I was reading a Discord right now. Oh, Lord. PVS. All right. Let's do the second draw here. 3 teams remaining. Who's joining Noxus here? Got Clown, CCG, 5 Seasons. A lot of interesting. This Clown Gaming team was the strongest. Spoilers. Was the strongest pool 3 team here. So they're obviously one that you don't really want in your group, but we're going to get 5 Seasons here instead. Interesting here. I'll be in the side of Noxus here. Let's start with PVS. What are your thoughts on this 5 Seasons team?
Okay, so Jungle, very consistent, very experienced. Nidhogg. Very known player.
Yes.
But other than that, I don't there's not a ton of experience otherwise. Very high ranked players. Specifically Season of Leaves. Not sure how they're gonna do with like Fearless Draft. But otherwise pretty good.
Yeah, it's the one thing, right? Even if like your champions go through, yeah, if I remember correctly, the Seasons of Leaves is known for like Lux and Seraphine specifically. If your champions go through, once you pick them, you just can't pick them again, right? So you're kind of like you're inherently limited by the format. Gordo, what are your thoughts on this what do you call it, on this team here? 5 seasons. They were again spoiler, the lowest ranked pool 3 team here. So theoretically speaking, the easiest draw for our Noxus group.
Yeah, I think that's a fair classification, but I'm excited to see, like PVS said, a lot of young guys on this team, a lot of pretty newer folks to the scene here. Season of Leaves played his first ACL last split. He's 13, I believe. So Roaming, I think, is 18, and Sour, FKA Nodal, maybe still known as Nodal, I'm not sure, is 17. So these guys all still pretty new in there, and yeah, especially him. Yeah. I've gotten to see in a bunch of like Masters and Diamond leagues prior to this, so cool to see that he's made the jump up to Challenger, and excited to see him compete at this level.
Yeah, I've actually funny you mentioned Nodal. I'm pretty sure I TO'd him when he was literally in Diamond, and then also in Masters, and now I get to TO him in Aces. So it's very cool. I mean, honestly, as much as we tout developing, you rarely see players make that big of a leap. But seeing someone go from high Diamond to Master and playing is like this Diamond and Masters league, so now actually making the jump into legitimate Cap League, and I would say probably the most competitive T3 league there is. Interesting how Nodal actually does here. All right. Shut up, Sems. All right, 2 teams left to draw here. I'm gonna stop reading Twitch chat because Sems is making me laugh here. We got CCG and Clown Gaming. Who will be joining this pool 3 team here? Ooh, it looks like it's gonna be Clown Gaming will be joining here. The strongest, we call it, team here by far, according to the committee here. He'll be in the Piltover group, joining Maryville and Mirage Rookie. This is a low-key looking like the group of death, potentially. I'll start off with Gordo here. What are your thoughts on this Clown Game joining the Piltover?
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think Clown was the only team that I had above some of those pool 2 teams in my rankings. So definitely excited to see how they're going to be able to do. They got 3 of them made top 16, 2 of them on the same team, 1 of them on a separate team. We got a top 8 from ACL on this squad as well in Cryogen. Cryogen, somebody that I was really impressed with last split. Excited to see him grow and coming into, I think, his 2nd year competing. Maybe he played 2 years ago, and I just slipped right by me. But excited to see him come back with folks that he's gotten to play with before. And yeah, will be a fun squad to see.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, what do you call it? Kerrigan here was on the, what do you call it? Was a Boily Oil and Kerrigan were on last split's Clown Gaming team. Yep. And they're back again. And it was a very strong team. They finished 7th and 8th, and they were a very strong team. I mean, they weren't a contender per se, but they were a very, very strong team. And I really trust this Clown Gaming organization to put a strong team together to be a competitor. Very strong pool for a team for sure. PVS, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, you said it good. My goat Sems and Paragon can definitely carry the team. Finish 13-16 in OQ. I mean, that's top half of OQ is typically top half of ACL at least. So,
minimum, yes,
true.
Yeah. And I think especially this split compared to last split, if you can finish top half of OQ, I mean, there's a good chance you're going to finish top 8 again for Clown Game. I wouldn't be shocked if, honestly, I'll say this right now, I'd predict them probably be the pool 3 team to go the farthest. If any team's going to maybe finish top 6, it maybe Clown here if they get a favorable draw. That means, of course, we have to draw. You never know what's going to happen. CCG will go in the Zon group here. I know why Anakin's there. It's okay. CCG will go in the Zon group here. What do we think, PVS, of a CCG roster here coming into Zon?
It seems pretty inexperienced. I believe White Snow was in ACL once. I think their team withdrew, if I'm correct. Everyone but mid has been challenger, which is a good sign. That's all I got.
I think White Snow was on. I forgot what team he was on. Was he on the movie team or was he on the Tempest team? I think he was on a Tempest team.
Is it Contingent or Tempest? I don't.
Yeah, I think they actually played out. They just finished like 1-6.
Okay.
No, what do you call it? Obviously, yeah, it's a very mixed roster. We have a couple people here like St. Goal and Dominus or some a decent OQ performances here in top half. And obviously Sushi last split was in I think he was on the CCG Futures team last split, and obviously he's now starting. Gordo, what are your thoughts on the CCG here joining? A relative name here at ACL. I think they've been here for a couple of splits now.
Yeah, didn't get to see a ton of Sushi. They were playing support, I believe, during the
Yes.
time they were on Futures. So going to be cool to see them in what I believe is their main position. And then, yeah, a couple of folks here who've made top 16 in OQs before. I know St. Ghoul was on that Teamless Revenge team that made a pretty deep run in Diamonds. Not sure how to pronounce that one, but they were with Clown Gaming just this last split. So cool to see this team come together. Definitely, yeah, a lot of names that aren't as familiar, not as on the tip of your tongue as a lot of the other squads here, but I do think they definitely have some potential, and this is going to be a really competitive Zon group, so it'll be cool to see how they do against the likes of Aporia and BlackRock over here.
That ends our pool 4 teams here. Don't worry, no intermission. But before we get into pool 4, I'll start with PVS and Gordo. You know, which one of these groups you think kind of shows group of death and then group of life as you get into the pool 4 drawings?
I think it's kind of like Piltover's a little bit column A, a little bit of column B for me.
Yeah.
Like, I think Piltover has some of the, like, I don't want to call Maryville a weaker S tier team, right? Because it doesn't feel like there are any weak S tier teams, and I don't want to call Mirage Alliance a weaker A tier team either, because they still have a solid squad altogether. But I feel like they're beatable by the likes of like somebody like Clown, who I think were one of our higher rated tier 3 teams. So I think it's kind of both sides, right? There's a chance for Clown to get out of this with a high seed. I could see them upsetting. There's a chance for if the rest of the teams seeded into this group end up also being really competitive, people could drop games and end up falling a little bit lower than they would expect. So I'm keeping my eye on Piltover.
PVS, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, I think this Noxus group is going to be very top heavy. I've personally rated Morningstar and UCI extremely high. I definitely think Demacia is like a group of life. I think anyone can beat anyone there, at least between those 3 teams.
Yeah, I do think here. I mean, you guys mentioned Noxus and Piltover here, which towards the 5 seasons, excuse me, was by far the lowest ranked pool 3 team, and Clown was by far the highest ranked pool 3 team. So, seeing kind of a Noxus group like you mentioned here, PVS was pretty strong pool 2, pool 1 teams, and a Piltover group, like you said, guard of pretty weak pool 1, pool 2, weak relatively speaking. You could see maybe an upset here of Clown and maybe a break here for Noxus. Now let's go to pool 4. Obviously, you've done the math. You have to realize if there's pool 4 and pool 5 left, that means there's 16 teams left of 8. Let me go over all the pool 4 teams before we spin. We have Casa Gamers, Kappa Chungas, Interstellar Yappers, The Wiglets, Chaotic Solar, Gravity, Michigan State University A team, and University of South Florida. These are the pool 4 teams. And of course, with the pool 5 teams, 2 will be drawn, obviously one by one. Let's get it started here. Benjamin's our first draw here onto what will be the Demacia group. All right, who's it going to be? Interstellar Yappers. They join Demacia here with Team Fish Taco, Currents Kittens, and Bankins. And we'll start off with Gordo here. What are your thoughts on the Yappers?
Yeah, I come in like they got some minor open qualifier and ACL experience. A couple of names that we haven't gotten to see too much of before. I know Halls and Lonnie were both in ACL previously. We've gotten to see like a little bit of SXT. Is it 67? SXT
67.
SVN? Yeah,
67.
Yeah, we gotten to see them in OQs multiple times here. A little bit of C-Lol experience in there as well. Ajax was coaching previously in OQs, now actually playing, so we'll be interested to see how they're going to be able to make that conversion happen. But yeah, interesting squad.
PVS, thoughts from you?
Big player I'm looking at this roster is Ajax. I've spoken to him a few times. Professional Overwatch player, by the way.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm interested to see how the skills translate. Ajax.
Okay.
If I recall correctly here, Lodi was the starting mid laner last split for Gravity. He's an 18-year-old French kid. We'll see how he does. I mean, it's his second split in ACL. I don't think he's ever played in OQ, only in ACL. Curious to see here. I don't know if this Interstellar Yapper team is better than the Gravity team. Last split, maybe they're kind of equivalent. We'll kind of see how he does here for the new roster as well. Someone who I'm looking forward to here to kind of watch how he develops here in Demacia. All right, Benjamins. Next draw here. And San Antonio, if you want a higher pool seed, by the way, you can always PayPal me. Just let me know. Okay, so next pool here for V. I think this is for the Noxus division here. We're at Casa Gamers here. A very well-known name in ACL, excuse me. We've seen these guys a lot. Casa Gamers here. Roster coming in. We'll start with Gordo. What are your thoughts on this ACL team coming in from Casa?
Yeah, this team plays in like every OQ. They've stayed a lot together. They're like perma 2-3, which is a little unfortunate for them. But they always show up to play in Aegis, and they've always been able to get by a couple of wins here. I think they're very like they've always been very middle of the pack in Aegis, but I think their experience together definitely makes them stand out as somebody who could maybe make that jump up and be able to take some wins here in the group.
And yeah, like PV said earlier before we jump on them, I mean, I think we all kind of agree here 5 seasons is probably the weakest pool free team. If top 4 making playoffs out of 7, feel pretty confident for Casa Gamers here. If I recall, last play in Aegis, they finished 5th in their group and missed out of playoffs. I think this is something you can see them finish, 4th, maybe even 3rd if everything goes well, if they're experienced, depending on how well their draws there, and maybe make playoffs. What are your thoughts here, PBS?
I mean, yeah, like you said, I believe 2023 fall, they finished 21-24, which is...
Yes. 5th place.
It's not... Yeah, it's just missing out of playoffs, which, I mean, as a 4th pool, or a 3rd pool team, that makes sense. I think they're rated accurately. Potato, obviously the most experienced player on this roster, so we'll see if the support role can carry.
100%. Never draw here. Well, I'm going to start calling you Ben now. Never draw here from Ben. We're going to move over here for the tilt over draw. What's getting interesting here is a couple of teams left here. And again, once you get to these bottom pools, the relative skill level does change a lot. We're at Kappa Chungus here, actually, is going to be the pool 4 team who joins Piltover. Nice note. And they're going to be here. Kappa Chungus. We're going to start with PVS. Any thoughts on this Kappa Chungus team? I don't think there's a lot known about them specifically, but they're obviously here in the pool 4.
Yeah. Using the cheat sheet that we made for the ACL committee, we have no information at all. These are 5 unknown players. I think they're also doing roster swaps.
Yes, they are doing roster, which is a big thing.
I think it's support mid that are changing. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on it. I think it's a pretty tough group for them to get slotted in as well. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I'm interested to I agree. I'm on board with the cheat sheet. I don't know these guys either, but somebody on the committee must believe in them because
not
they're
us.
on. Yeah, they're on. Yeah, they're here and not in the bottom pool. So somebody believes in them. Somebody knows who these guys are and thinks that they're a little bit higher up there. So
I mean, it'd have to be multiple people voting for them too.
Yes,
so.
it had to be because I could also personally say that. I also
Flay respects a lot.
I'll leak it. I did not have Kappa Chungus in my pool. I actually had it in the bottom pool. So clearly, the other 9 members had different opinions of Kappa Chungus. And obviously, there may be more where
nobody willing to defend themselves to PVS and I. So.
Yeah, base logo.
I would say maybe the logo got him. Maybe the logo got him. All right, let's get this on here, Ben. 5 teams to go. Interesting. Yeah, when we have these larger pools, it's always interesting because you kind of don't know in here. It's going to be USF. The weakest, if I recall, pool 4T coming into Zon here. Very interesting group here. University of South Florida, obviously collegiate experience here. We'll start with, what's his name, Gordo here. What are your thoughts on USF? University, obviously, CLAW experience. But my understanding, a pretty okay CLAW team, but doesn't usually translate well into Uncapped. What are your thoughts on this University of South Florida team, Gordo?
Yeah, I'm always willing to give CLAW teams the benefit of the doubt a little bit to be able to, come in and perform up against some of the rando squads that come together. I can see like Jonathan's inching towards that 1K LP mark in his peak rank. So definitely some solid solo queue performances there. See if they're going to be able to translate that over to the stage and how much their time playing CLAW is going to be able to help them perform.
PVS, thoughts from you?
Yeah, from the information we could gather, this team was 9 to 16th in the South Division or South Conference of CLAW, which is, I mean, it's not outstanding by any means, but I mean, it is experience either way. I believe Ferenda, the support, is also new to the roster.
Yes.
Oh.
I think a lot of times for when you have a top 7 group here, that 4th spot, is technically speaking, it's a top half spot. So you can see these pool 4, pool 5 teams sneak in there. And this University of Florida was the lowest ranked pool 4 team coming in. So maybe a break here for the Zon group. 4 more teams to go. Mr. Ben, let's get Demasia's last group here. Our last team here before.
Chungus was even higher boosted than these guys, by the way. I'm still no hate to Kappa Chungus. I don't know you guys, but somebody really believes in you.
I mean, it was a really good PayPal check is all I'm going to say. Gravity, which is your last split, coming into ACL here. This is a more experienced pool 4 team. Kind of, I would say, quintessential pool 4 team. I could see this team basically just finishing 5th, maybe 4th with experience with an easy group. They're in Demacia. PVS, what are your thoughts on this Gravity team coming in Aegis again? Got some more experienced players relative to these pool 4 teams, but obviously, of course, wasn't in OQs the last split.
Yeah, finished 5th in their division in 2023 fall. I think this is definitely like their most optimal group to get pulled in as well. Spencer, big Urgot player, I believe. So it should be spicy drafts.
Gordo, any thoughts from you? Gravity returning back to Aegis, trying to see if it can maybe, improve that finish from 5th to 4th, but actually get them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, gotten to see Spencer and Saknam before in Aegis, where they've been able to be like top 24, which is pretty solid. Getting close to that playoff slot here, and
Mhm.
I kind of agree. Like, I think they're slotting here into Demacia. Like, they'll have an interesting competition with the Interstellar Yappers, and I think
Mhm.
this group now is like looking really tough for the Yappers and for anybody else who gets slotted in here, because I think top 4 feel very firm between Gravity and the pools 1, 2, and 3 teams.
And specifically for Gravity here, I mean, generally speaking, just to be blunt, this is probably the weakest the ACL is going to be in any given period. Just kind of a cycle goes. Foe will always be the strongest because there's no C-Law, and the NACL teams are kind of allowed to compete. Obviously, summer, you expect some of us collegiate teams to maybe band together who are not playing in C-Law. The timing could be here. Fall is winter's the one period when you're just not going to get some C-Law teams. You're not going to get some NACL teams. You may even get some OQ teams who are going to prioritize. So this is, for Gravity, this may be your best chance here to make playoffs and, get to the double elimination bracket. 3 teams to go. The Wiglets, Chaotic Solar, another ACL staple, and MSU A team will join us here in the Noxus division, I believe.
Do the Wiglets have a logo yet?
I don't know, to be honest.
I think they're making one.
They are, really?
Make one.
Oh.
They better make one.
Pick it up. It's like
There they are.
There they are. You know what? The benefit you get to speak about them. Gordo, what are you following Wiglets here joining Noxus?
These guys are
an interesting team.
Yeah, they're an interesting team. I've heard a lot about Gorilla Jones.
Yeah.
I've not gotten to see very much of Gorilla Jones yet, so I'm excited to get to actually watch Gorilla Jones play. I hope I'm not jinxing it with that. Bad, been around Aegis for forever, started in stuff like AVL, now moving up to stuff like ACL. As he's gotten better and better over time. So I know Josu has some experience with Gorilla Jones as well. They've played together previously. So this will be an interesting squad. I don't really know much about Yours Sincerely or Pig Boss Moo, but interested to see how they're going to be able to do.
Yeah, and I mean, before you start PVS, go for it.
So
I know you have opinions on Wiglets.
I have very good insights on this roster. I won ADL with a bit bad jungle. Yours Sincerely is the Grandview University mid laner.
Okay.
Josu Gorilla Jones 05 OQ. It's fine. And Pig Boss Moo is a jungler. Jungleman. And he's Emerald. So we'll see how it goes. I'm a little bit worried about the team mental, but
wow, that's just so...
I think they're top half for sure. I think they make it into playoffs.
Why so negative? Why but you just all that negativity? You're like, yeah, we're top half. I don't know.
Dad and Yours Sincerely can solo carry games easily, but we'll see.
Well, I will say it's perfect. Another example, we talk about Nodell here, back on the 5 seasons roster. Juice is another player, or Josu, excuse me, who I also personally TO'd when he was Diamond. And then he played in Diamond Master Tournaments, and then he peaked Challenger, and he was an ACL. So very cool, again, to see not all players do this, starting I guess the middest elos, which are, the gap is insane, to be honest, between Masters and this level of play. So seeing someone, pull up the way, even if it's like more of a bottom end team, to be blunt, seeing someone actually be able to consistently at least get offers in lower end teams is very interesting. Very happy for him to be back here in ACL. 2 more teams to go. Ben. Michigan State University and Chaotic Solar. More known commodity. Chaotic Solar, again. Pretty known commodity here in ACL. And we're about to speak on Megger joining us in Piltover. What do you call it here? We're going to start with, what do you call it? PVS here. This Chaotic Solar team, kind of a known quality here in ACL. What are your thoughts on Chaotic Solar coming into the Piltover division?
Yeah, typically Chaotic puts in like middle tier teams.
Yes,
I believe this is also a middle tier team.
Yes.
I believe it was Jay Bear and Boyo that played OQ together as the 32 seed and got 2 and 3, which is, playing way above their rating. It'll be an interesting team. I know Neversaw has been an AML player for a while, so interesting to see the step up and see how the team does.
Any thoughts from you, Gordo?
Yeah, no, similarly, like I've heard good things about Jay Bear. They were able to overperform in their time in OQs just recently, so curious to see how they're going to be able to make it happen here. Not super familiar with Neversaw Verticality, but we'll see how they're going to be able to put it together as well.
Yeah, I feel like if you're Chaotic Solar, you're kind of happy with this draw, honestly. Like this Kappa Chungers team, I'm not particularly impressed with myself as well. And then the pool 1, the Maryville and Mirage is pool 1, pool 2 are like, I mean, you're probably gonna lose to them, but like the fact of the matter is, this is a very open-ended group. I think you're Chaotic Solar. sneaking the fourth is very doable for a team that generally develops mid-tier teams, and yeah, it's double elim, right? As long as you sneak in the fourth, you can get 2 playoff games minimum, and make a decent run. You know what that means? Sorry, PVS. Sorry, I apologize.
No, I was gonna say like this is the battle for fourth group or fourth place group. I think.
I mean, I can even see like one of the teams that aren't top 3 could even sneak into like a third here too. I think some of these teams could be beatable on the right day, on the right draft. So it'll be interesting.
Hey, it's only 6 group games, right? So anything can happen. You know, one bad week and you fall down. All right, last team. Let's get Michigan State University in here while we wait. Michigan State University here joining in. I think it's their first appearance in ACL, but obviously a lot of CLL experience here. We'll start with what you call PVS here. What are your thoughts on this Michigan State University team coming in ACL?
Not a ton of information available about this team. MSU finished 9 to 16th in the North Conference, I believe, which is not outstanding by any means. Just like USF,
same as USF, yeah, same as USF. Yeah.
So I'm a little surprised. It'll be interesting to see them in the same group. You know, collegiate battle between 2 like middle tier teams.
Both battling for fourth. I mean, a CCG team that has questions. I mean, this really looks really open for both collegiate teams. They're like, they're okay collegiate teams, and they have a pretty good shot of actually making playoffs here. Goro, what are your thoughts on this group right now at Michigan?
Yeah, well, starting to collect the collegiate teams here. There was room for there to be like a collegiate group of death that we didn't quite get, but cool to have a couple of collegiate squads together. And yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat with this team as I was with USF. Like, I just kind of give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt, just because I know they're playing together and practicing together, being a CLOL team, and giving them that little extra vote of confidence coming in because of that. This is going to be an interesting. This group now feels like it's possible for a Group 5 team,
to get out,
team, whatever you want to call it, to be able to sneak in and get out. So I think if you're seed 5, you haven't been drawn yet, you're crossing your fingers for Zon right now.
Speaking of that, I'll go with Gordo and I'll go on the PVS here. Of all these groups here, what do you think is the best chance? Do you think it is Zon here? Best chance for Pool 5 team to get out? Gordo?
I think so.
PVS, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not convinced by like CLOL teams, so Zon is for sure the life group.
Zon's wide open. I'm sure you're not really convinced by CCG either, relative to, other Pool 3 teams, I guess.
Yeah. I think they're less strong than a Clown or Abandoned Kittens.
Okay. All right. By definition, if your name hasn't been drawn, unless we're just completely forgot that you existed, you have to be in Pool 5. Let's put the Pool 5 teams out here. Glacial Esports, Next Level Esports, Shy Bong Bong Esports, Zoro Esports, Vapak, Briarcliff University, I believe, Novosphere Gaming, and Vespa. The final 8 teams. Very interesting. Let's get the spins going. This is going to be really interesting. I mean, again, I agree about the Zon group. It looks like really wide open here. First, we're going to have Next Level Esports here. We're going to come in here. One of the stronger Pool 5 teams, if I can recall correctly. We'll have Gardo start this one off here. This Next Level Esports team's coming in. What are your thoughts? Actually, some players have a little bit of experience here coming into ACL.
Yeah, Maces and Wenwin have a little bit of experience coming on in. I've definitely seen them before. So excited to see these two and what they're going to be able to do. And I agree. Yeah, definitely one of my higher rated teams that ended up in this group. This is one of the teams that I think could have been maybe making the jump up over maybe one of the CLOL teams or something had X, Y, or Z been a little bit different. But so definitely cool to see them be the first one drawn. And I think adds to this Demacia group, I think there's some competition here. I think the race for fourth is going to be interesting. I think I favor Gravity, but the Yappers and Next Level, it'll be cool to see them all playing against each other and trying to make that jump up.
And some questions here, obviously, for Next Level Esports, but, Base Top and Wenwen were Perma 2 free last player on Chaotic for the entire year. And obviously, Wenwen, I think, also playing Contingent last year. So, we don't know a lot about the bot side, I would say, and we'll start with PVS here before we get going. But I think the top side has potential here to be one of the Pool 5 teams that can sneak into playoffs. What are your thoughts, PVS?
Yeah, I haven't heard of either of the bot laners, if I'm being real.
I don't know them either.
I know Wenwin's a big Lee Sin Udyr player, which I think that's fine. Asyla's like a Lysandra player, I believe. Lysandra, Syndra, Victor. So I think it'll be a slower team in general. Like their games will be kind of long, but I think they're pretty happy in Demacia. Like I wouldn't hate being drawn into this group as them.
No, yeah, the Interstellar Yappers are the team it beats. I think them and Gravity would actually be a really low-key kind of, as crazy as it sounds like, important matchup to make fourth.
Oh, yeah.
because they're both. It's like I think that Gravity's more established as a mid-tier team, but Next Level has got some players who are like, oh, these guys are just like, you can see these guys being first round exits in playoffs, right? They're very consistent, decent team. All right, let's get to Noxus here. We're almost figured a draw here. I'm very curious, and I mean, Noxus here seems to be a very, very interesting group here. Kind of difficult in first paper here. We're gonna have Vespa here. Vespa will be joining Noxus. This is a roster here, kind of coming into ACL. We'll start with PVS. What are your thoughts on this Vespa team? Or should I say, lack of thoughts here? I'll actually go with Gordo here. What are your...
muted Yeah, I was gonna say you're muted PVS, but I mean they're another one of those teams that I feel like we have super
Zero
little
idea.
information
Yes.
on. I mean, yeah, HP Gamer and 0310 come in as the higher ranked players. But yeah, I mean this team was pretty close towards the unknown section of my rankings as well. That doesn't mean bad. That just means we have very little to go off of to rate you guys coming on in, and you don't have the LP to demand a higher seating. So it'll be cool to see them play here. I do think Kosa and the Wiglets
Feeling good.
There's maybe there's some beatable teams here. 5 seasons even too. If everything doesn't work out for them, there's space to move up in Noxus.
It's a top heavy group though. You see everybody at Morningstar like, please get me to playoffs. This is a waste of my time.
Yeah, so I think top 2 are pretty secured. I think honestly anybody in this bottom 5 teams can make playoffs, no problem. Obviously, I mean Vespa's like a big solo queue team. Who knows what they're gonna do? No information. So I mean, I rated them low personally, but
I'll be blunt for everyone. They're the lowest ranked teams in ACL.
Yeah.
Just to put it, they were by far the lowest, a clear bottom team in ACL. So this is, that technically speaking, projected the worst team in ACL. They are by far given, the best group, I think, or one of the best groups potentially to prove us wrong. But generally speaking, this was a very low ranked team. All right, next team in Piltover. A couple of the higher ranked Pool 4 teams are still arrived, so I'm actually curious how they do. I'm not Pool 4, sorry, a couple of higher ranked Pool 5 teams. Zora Esports here will be joining us here in the Piltover group here. Zora, we'll start with PBS here because he was in here last time. What are your thoughts on this Zora team coming in? I think I do if I remember correctly, but do have Marios who played in OQs, if I'm correct.
Oh, you're stealing my knowledge, the only knowledge we had of this team.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Support and ADC have both been challenger. That's and Marios has played OQs. I don't think it went very well. I think it was 2 and 3.
1 and 4.
1 and 4. Okay, worse than I thought. So, I mean, I think Pool 5 is definitely correct. They're definitely higher ranked than Vespa would be.
Yes, no question.
Yep. It's I'm told this is a Shaunatonin team. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means good or bad, but read into that as you will. But yeah, excited to have Sean here at the very least, and we'll see what he's able to get out of these guys. That does not mean they're an IW team. I did ask about this. He's just coaching on the side, just doing a little bit of a grind here for ACL.
This Piltover group is so weird here. I feel like there's so much. You could wake up one day and if you just told me Zora or
logo is just black. I could not tell.
Is it really?
I can't. Can you see it?
No, there is a circle in there for sure.
Yeah, there's a little picture in there, but it's
an X
to see. Yeah,
which makes sense.
A little dark X and a hex.
Maybe we got to make that white next time.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I think it looks fine to me. Let's go on to the next group here. We got Zon here. 5 teams remaining.
How high is your brightness, brother?
I mean, I use everything on light mode, so
super gamma, holy.
So actually pretty bright. All right.
I mean, you can't have the stream on bright mode.
Yes, you can. No, you're wrong. I'm sorry, but your eyes aren't good enough. Briarcliff joining in Zon here. Ooh, Briarcliff University team here. We'll start off with Gordo here. What are your thoughts on this Briarcliff team coming to ACL? We actually have some data about this team.
Yeah, just a little bit. I know Raymond is FK Belko.
What is this collegiate group?
Yeah, we've seen them a little bit. This is starting to get to be a little bit of a collegiate group here. And again, we mentioned this is one that you can maybe make the jump up here. So between Raymond and Osadero, who we've gotten to see a little bit of before, and if the rest of this squad comes together, I don't know who Cammer is, but they've got a pretty high peak rank here. They've clearly been challenger. So, I mean, if they can come together and show us a little bit of something here, they have space to move on up.
EVS?
Yeah, I think I favor this team compared to the other 2 collegiate teams, which is strange because Pool 5, but it's definitely gonna be a weird group. I think top 2 are pretty solid, but after that it kind of drops off a cliff.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're feeling pretty good over CCG here, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say CCG is pretty.
Yeah,
happy
I mean,
about the
it's
rest of the
yeah,
squad. I think
they're pretty happy.
I'm a
Oh,
lot more
we can see it.
confident in them than I was.
You finally got flight vision. You can see it now.
Yeah,
There it is.
thanks.
See?
This is what light mode looks
Yeah,
like.
no problem. Anytime. No. No, I mean, I think it's like actually really interesting to all the collegiate teams in one area here. You have to feel pretty good if you're all the collegiate teams. I agree with PBS's earlier ranking. I'm not personally not a big fan of collegiate teams. I think generally they're lower than the amateur teams. But when you have 3 of them, I mean, I guess technically it is possible they can all get eliminated. You would expect maybe one to get out. This could be a chance.
Yeah.
Dare I say, it could be the weakest team to actually make playoffs. Could be from the
This is our own little baby CLOL championship here. All these guys.
Definitely not rigged, by the way. Definitely not rigged.
Yeah, I mean, they were all like 6th to like 15th in their like conference. So,
And I mean, and by the way, if we
True.
were going to rig it, it would have been these 3 teams in the group with Maryville and UCI. Like that would have been a banger.
Okay,
Yeah.
but that would have been too obvious. You don't know how to rig stuff. All right, next, the last 4 teams here to draw. Well, we have
That's
no
a
more collegiate
compliment
teams.
to play, by the way, that I
Is
don't
it a
know how to
compliment?
rig stuff. Yeah,
Nah. Shy Boing Boing Esports.
this job's
joining-
about developing trust.
Well, I've done the best I can. Finishing up Demacia of Shy Boing Boing Esports. Gordo, take it away here. What are your thoughts on this team coming into the Demacia?
Oh boy, Shaboing Boing Esports.
Shaboing
There's
Boing.
one piece of ACL experience on
Mhm.
this roster. It is Masked Zero, who had a
Mhm.
pretty solid run
Yeah.
back last winter. That was the UCI championship era, so it would have been fun to have them in the group with UCI. No such luck. But yeah, they were on Planetary Collision, which was an interesting team that like were dominant in groups and then really struggled once it got to the elimination rounds, once it got to the playoffs. So will be cool to see them here too. And I think, assuming that Mass Zero can pull in a squad of folks that perform similarly, just extrapolating that performance from winter 2023 to the whole squad, that makes this Demacia group a lot of fun, right? Because between the Yappers and Next Level and Gravity, there's like a good race between all of these squads for that 4th spot.
PVS, your thoughts?
I will say, for your sake, Gordo, this will be a really interesting team to cast. Just saying their name over and over again.
That is true.
Boing? Yeah.
Boing Boing. That is actually pretty fun. That alone,
gonna
we'll
be
put him on week 1.
I can't wait to tell TDS about this. TDS is gonna have a blast with
Shaboing Boing.
So their mid AD are like have never been above 100 LP Masters, which is a little bit worrying. But the other 3 are like challenger level, so we'll see if they can carry mid ADC. But interesting
All right.
team for sure.
Now that we finished Demacia, I'll start this off before we rest of it draw. I'll start with PVS here, then Gordo. Back to standing, sorry. But now we finished Demacia. I apologize. Gordo, or actually PVS, sorry. Gotta give me here your one surprise for this group you think expecting, and then who you think is kind of like, the group winner coming into this tournament.
For Demacia or
For Demacia, yes. Your one surprise you think. The one thing you're going to be, your prediction coming into Demacia before we get into Noxus.
my prediction? I think
Surprise prediction, yeah.
I think Cerulean's Kittens could make a run to top 1. I think
Top 1?
I think they
Like
can
to
make a run
win?
to top 1. I think they can beat out TFT.
Okay. I thought you meant like to win the group. I don't think you meant like win the tournament. Okay.
Not like win the whole tournament, but
Okay.
like they could beat TFT here. I know Porsche has some firsthand experience with a lot of the members of TFT. I'm sure he would love to have that happen. I think Abandoned Kittens are super dangerous, right? I don't know what it is about these guys, but they're always disrespected, and then they come in and they do really well. I think Samakin is like a different beast than he's been in the past as well. I think he's been really good lately, especially since that last offseason when he got a lot of really good scouting looks and got to spend some time on that EG Combine. So I think this group is more... there's a lot of variance in the top 3, and there's a huge race for the 4th spot.
Well, Quest here is actually saying that Demacia is a super group of death. Best tier 3 team, a good tier 4 teams, and the best tier 5 teams according to Quest here. PVS, what are your thoughts? Biggest surprise you think is going to come out of Demacia here? And what's your thoughts on Quest's assessment of Demacia?
I mean, isn't Quest like outlawed from OQs or
He's not outlawed. I think he's just
Jesus.
or like from the committee?
Jesus.
But
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I'd call it super group of death. I think top 3 is solid, and then it's just 4th. Like who's getting 4th?
Okay. So you think it's like the top 3 is chalk, but that 4th spot's open for anyone?
I'm gonna say the Yappers get it, but like
Okay.
I'm gonna say Gravity gets it.
Okay. All right, well, let's get the draw here in Noxus here. 3 teams left. We'll do our Noxus analysis, and our Piltover analysis, and we'll wrap it up with Zon analysis. I mean, there is one team I think it could be potentially interesting and joins this Noxus group, but we'll see. It's Novosphere Gaming actually is going to come in here. They're going to be in Noxus here, rounding up the group here. This now means that. Sorry, my cat just went on my keyboard. Give me one moment before I type this. Yeah, he's been watching this. He like watches the spin. It's very fun to him. PVS, what are your thoughts on this Novosphere team here coming into Noxus? It is pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie.
I have insider info. I scrimmed them last night.
Oh god.
Okay, they're not terrible. I think 5th pool is definitely correct.
Okay.
Slamboy used to be an ADC, swapped the top, which, I mean, I don't think the roles translate super well, but I mean, who knows? All the players are fairly high ranked, except for, I mean, I don't think we have the supports OP, but
Kaioken V9.
yeah, never heard of them.
I've never heard of any of these guys. So again, doesn't mean you're bad. That just means I can't rate you anywhere but down here. So we'll have to see.
Well, speaking of seed, we're in Noxus now. We got the group Noxus. We'll start with PVS this time. We started Gordo last time. What do you think your biggest surprise is gonna be from Noxus here? And what's your one hot take, I guess?
My surprise is how just extremely top heavy this is. I mean, top 2 are just you're just praying to not get beaten like 20 minutes by them every game. My surprise, I think Wiglix goes 3rd or 7th. I don't think there's an in between for them.
Gordo?
Yeah, I agree. I think Wiglets have a shot out of this one. I think, we were talking about Kosa. This might be their shot. They got a good chance here. Now I think I'm not going to predict them to get out. I think 5 seasons. We talked about this being one of the lower seeded or lower ranked tier 3 teams. I think they should be pretty happy with this group. They got a solid chance to make a run out of here. I agree with PVS. I think the Wiglets could make their move up here. I don't know if I'm going to pick them necessarily 3rd, but I think they could get in here. They can make it.
Gotcha here. Give me one moment here. I'm currently being attacked.
If they get a logo, they'll make it.
Do they have a logo? WGIT. That's their logo.
I think they're just using the Pokemon.
No.
I want them to use the Pokemon.
Are they actually using the Pokemon?
I think so. I heard them discussing if they wanted to use 1 or 5 of them. So
5 of them. Absolutely 5 of them.
All right. Let's get in Piltover here. 2 picks left here. The pack and Glacial Esports. Let's do this before my cat bites me again. Currently being attacked as I do this draw show. The pack has arrived. They are our final Piltover team here. And we'll start with Gordo this time. What are your thoughts on this pack team coming in to Piltover?
The pack. I gotta see. Yeah, I mean,
again, another
team where I just feel like I really do not know what's going on as far as the roster construction. No previous tournaments. No, a lot of information there. So I mean, gotta be cool to see them. Gotta be fun to see them. Always happy to see new faces here. Before they start showing up in OQs, that makes me feel like a smart guy when I start talking about teams for OQs. So, come one, come all. I'm always happy to have new folks. You're gonna start out down here. I'm not gonna have high expectations until I have a reason to, though. So that's gonna make this group interesting. I like this chaotic team in this.
I think they're feeling great right now, honestly.
Yeah, I like chaotic for 4th here.
So this is the group of doesn't know what transport logos are. Black logo. PVS. What are your thoughts on this pack team?
I mean, no information whatsoever. From the info I gathered, I don't know if the OPGG was correct, but missing link their ADC is currently Emerald, which is going to be a tough one for ACL. But it's ambitious for sure.
That's true. I think it is missing. It is missing. It's a wrong account. That's not his age.
Oh, okay.
That's not there. I know. It's probably
that might be a little tough.
Yes, good analysis. But
this thing is not our AD carry. Well,
no, it's
that's what I had on the list when I had
you are. It
got changed a couple of days
because that is who you signed up with. So.
Are you missing your ADC? No, their ADC changed. A couple of days ago. It wouldn't have actually changed the ranking stuff, but it did change a couple of days ago.
You don't know that. We had a
I actually do know that. I can say that of confidence. I don't think it would have changed anything. Regardless, so Piltover. We'll start with Gordo this time. Big surprise? Big hot take? What's your thoughts here, Piltover?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's even a hot take, but I think Chaotic's getting out of this one. I
Okay.
think we're
Guaranteed.
I don't know if
Put
it's
a quarter.
guaranteed.
Oh,
Like,
okay,
these teams
okay,
I
man.
don't know
Okay, man.
could surprise me, but
Okay.
assuming they don't, I would be I'm putting in Chaotic. I think Capuchungus was a bit of a freebie for the group. Still, I shared PVS and I share the same confusion.
I mean, I do as well. Don't worry.
I mean,
There. All right, all three of us do. So if nobody comes out here to support their opinion, I'm gonna remain confused.
I will say, Sanaton, I can guarantee that Zoro finished top 7 in this group. PVS, what are your hot takes of Piltover?
yeah, I mean, this is the group of like no information.
That makes it a group of life.
That does, by definition.
Technically, yeah.
Nope.
I mean, the bottom 4 teams, I have no clue how they're going to do. Chaotic's probably the most consistent, so I'd agree with Gordo with them getting 4th, but who knows what's going on in this group.
Maybe
God help us
Sean's
all.
team makes a little run here, Maybe Sean's big brain in the Fearless draft. And that's all it takes, right? Like Jay Bear's a Darius one trick, isn't he? So
He's known for his Darius, yes.
yeah, so you can make some big moves there if you play out your drafts right, get some upsets.
Norm. All right. We call it. Never mind. All right. Last draw here. And this is no surprise. He's got to get it out here. Glacial Esports, basically, by definition, have to be in this group. I know. Shocker. Where the hell did the other team go that I put in? I didn't miss. So then, this group here rounds off Zon. We are done. We are finished. Prior clip of the other group. I don't know where the hell they went here. Let's write this here. All right. So, PVS this time. What are your thoughts on Glacial Esports joining the Zon group?
I think I think they are happy to be in this group. I personally would call this the group of life other than top 3, but it's a weird one because I think their support has a lot of collegiate experience as well. Sly Lego. That's really the only information I can gather. They have pretty high LP peaks though. Maybe they're a sleeper team.
Gordo, your thoughts?
Yeah, so Kite Azure, Silva, Sly Lego, and Leoto have all played together in like Risen Mythical or FK Risen Divine a bunch before. So they remind me a lot of remember last season we had Iridescent Dawn Neon. Like it's always cool when a team that's like able to consistently be like top 4, top 3 in like the Masters leagues tries their hand at coming on up here. I think it was about as good of a group as they could have gotten.
Yes.
To try their hand here, and obviously the competition. Not quite as stiff in ACL winter for Glacial as it was in ACL fall for IDN. As they went like 1-6, they got kind of slammed. But so I don't know. I'd like to be hopeful coming on in for these guys. I like that story. I love when people get to make the jump from one league to the next and still perform. So best of luck to these guys. I hope they end up taking some wins over some of these CLOL teams and maybe making at least being competitive for that 4th seed.
Speaking of predictions here and storylines, PBS, hot take of the group for Zon here.
I think this is the easiest group to get 4th.
Okay.
For any of the bottom 4 teams.
Florida. PVS go.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I think CCG is a solid 3rd, but not getting top 2.
Okay. So you think it's basically top 2 is chalk, 3rd is chalk, and 4th is we flip a coin. I guess we flip 2 coins and see who.
I mean, I think top 2 can swap between each other, and 3rd is just solid 3rd, unless they boom, which I don't think they will. But any of the bottom 4 teams just can get 4th for sure.
Agree, and for that reason, my hot take is like I think Glacial can at least be competitive for 4th. I think they can do good. These guys have played together a bunch of times. I've seen them in a bunch of different metas and be successful in most of them. They made multiple deep runs in Risen Divine. I would love to see it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I prefer Glacial to get 4th here. Like I that's my opinion is they'll get 4th over the collegiate team. I think all of the CLOL teams are out.
I think Risen Mythical League, Risen Divine League is more competitive than CLOL Southern Conference.
Potentially, yeah.
I can see it.
Wow, this is some disrespect. I hope Glacial goes 0-7 now and gets stomped by every collegiate team. Just to make guys eat your words. I hope every time they lose in chat, they at you, Gordo.
Well, it's a win-win, right? Yeah. We get a new talent pipeline to the ACL either way.
That's
right?
true. That's true.
Either CLOL proves themselves as being able to make top 16 ACL, or Risen Masters teams prove that they're good enough to be able to make top 16 at ACL. It's one or the other.
Honestly, either way doesn't look good for ACL, to be honest with you. I'm not very optimistic. All right. Well, that is our draw. The schedule will come out by Friday. And by Friday, I mean, I'm just going to do it right now because might as well. Next week, your Friday games. We'll get the channel set up, get everything set up. Again, thank you everyone for ACL here. Before we wrap it up, I always do this. We're going to go down from Gordo, PVS, and me. Pick your champion of ACL Winter 2024. Last split, it was Winthrop. I don't think any of us picked Winthrop. I could be wrong. I think I picked Mirage to repeat, actually, last split.
I know Summer and Gabrielle would not let us forget that we didn't pick Winthrop.
Yes,
so.
they did. They did not. So, yeah, we did not pick Winthrop, so we could be wrong again. I mean, it's not like they pay us, right? So, well, I guess technically. But anyway, Gordo, PVS. First, Gordo, who's your pick here to win ACL Winter? To be our 4th champion here, joining what? UCI, Irvine, Mirage Alliance, and Winthrop. Who would be our 4th champion?
Based on some of the whisperings I'm hearing about Team Fish Taco, I'm going to pick Team Fish Taco.
Congrats on Team Fish Taco. You did not win ACL with split. PVS, who is your prediction?
I think LMQ is going to win it. Morningstar. Personally, it's them or UCI for me, but
Interesting.
I think Noxus is pretty good.
I guess I'll be a different one here. Let me just confirm I'm not trolling here if it's who I thought it is. But I'm going to go for Maryville here, actually. I think this Maryville team is going to win. It's my kind of personal opinion here. I think that we have a unique champion here in ACL. Maryville will be joining the kind of run-back collegiate here, back-to-back collegiate here. Obviously, as PBS said, there's a chance like a UC Irvine could be the first 2-time champion. I guess Mirage, technically, it's a dev roster, but they could technically be a 2-time champion, but it doesn't look like anyone here picks him to win. It would be kind of, I think, a surprise win here, even though we're a pretty good team. But those are our picks. We got Team Fish Taco, Morningstar, and Maryville are the 3 teams that we all picked to win here. Besides that, any thoughts from you, PVS?
Looking forward to it. We'll see how it goes.
Gordo, any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, looking forward to it as well here. My DMs are open. TDS's DMs are open. If you ever have any complaints about the casting or anything you want to be known if your team's going to be featured. So looking forward to it. And yeah, going to be a great season.
Finally, for me, thank you everyone for joining in. This is the 4th split of ACL. We're really excited again for people to be here. We really want this to be, the premier place to play for Tier 3. We think this is the premier place to play for Tier 3. And, really, if you want to get your start off in uncapped, if you want to get experience, hell, if you just want to kind of prove yourself here, this will always remain to be a great scouting grounds for OQ teams, even ACL teams, and kind of get the experience of top-level play. And, really curious to see who's going to be top 4 here. And, last split, we had a really banger playoffs. Got really competitive towards the end. Obviously, best of 5 series, and we hope we get another 5-game series again. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next Friday, or excuse me, this upcoming, sorry, next Friday, actually, Next Friday, not this upcoming Friday, next Friday on the 23rd for your first weeks of games. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Oh, sign up for the Hot Pockets thing this weekend, too. If you haven't.
Youth to grow colder, they found